ポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Hey guys, Kakarot 197 again. This time with a review of the high-grade Gundam Kyrios from the Gundam 00 series, brought to you by my favorite online hobby store, Hobbylink Japan. Links to buy your own orange jet down below. And in terms of looks, I'll start with the positive stuff first. I absolutely love the proportions of this thing, and it definitely looks like a model kit that has the potential to look amazing once you put some effort into it. There's a lot of seam lines to deal with, and not even the massive sticker sheet covers all of the areas that require painting. We get purple stickers for the arms and the legs, dark green ones for the main camera, this grille on the back and underneath all of the clear domes, yellow for the vents on the chest and the skirt armor, metallic green for this cockpit-esque thing, metallic red and purple for the sides that should have been matte red, the usual eye sticker, and I kept the best for last, a metallic chin sticker that had absolutely no business being here, so I didn't use it. The worst and most baffling part is that if this orange part had simply been molded in red, we wouldn't have even needed this abomination. The eye stickers even have a red part on them to cover up the orange.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Now for the parts that still require painting, you'll need a lot of gray for the shoulders, the arms, the front skirts, the knees, the back of the legs, the ankle guards, the inside of the back skirt, the feet, basically everywhere. After that, grab some white for this, yellow for that, and the thrusters here, and then orange for the back skirt with, surprise surprise, some gray highlights. Combine this with a few hollow parts, and I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anyone when I say that the straight out of the box presentation is kinda lacking. And unfortunately, this continues with the accessories. If we have a look at the back skirt, we will see that it does house two beam sabers, which are removable and look like they should be completely functional, but we don't actually get any beam saber blade effect parts. And the thing that really annoys me about this is that the 00 model kits are all designed to use their own unique beam saber blades that were made specifically for 00 models, so it's not like you can go to your stash of beam saber blades and use any old high-grade blade. No, they had to be specific 00 beam saber blades, which weren't even made at this point. But hey, at the very least, our non-functional beam saber fits into the hands very well. Moving right along, we get a beam submachine gun, and this is the usual construction, two halves slapped together, the barrels, and then this time the handle is a separate part for a reason that we'll get into soon. You will need to do a little bit of painting, some dark gray for this barrel thing here, and then on the sensor as well. And on the inside of the sensor, we do get a very nice metallic green sticker. It goes into the hand very well. And considering that this is the model kit line that came after the Gundam Seed line, I'm actually surprised at how stable it is. Then if you kinda want to mix it up, we also get this brace that mounts onto the arm, and then allows you to mount the beam submachine gun in a slightly different configuration. Then for defensive and also offensive purposes, we get this really cool shield. The only unfortunate thing is that it does have a few hollow parts, but other than that, this thing not only looks amazing and is pretty color accurate, this thing still has to be painted gray, but other than that, we get some really cool movement. It will go up and down, it extends, and then opens up on two hinges. And also a really cool thing is that it has a little peg here that clicks into that, so when it's closed, it's also going to stay closed. And it of course also comes with the needle. To mount it onto the arm then, you simply click it on there, and that is that. And believe me when I say that posing with that shield is a lot of fun. And just in case anyone was wondering about the needle, yes, you can actually jam it into the beam saber to kinda make a GN dagger. Then, as you've been able to tell in the photos, we also get a nicely detailed open hand, And then the final accessory that we're getting is this piece, which is used for the transformation, or in this case, the parts formation. So let's get on with that. And overall, that was a very smooth and straightforward transformation. The only thing that kind of threw me off was this picture in the manual. When you look at the shield relative to the wing and then compare it to how I have it, it doesn't seem to be quite the same, and I just couldn't get my model the same as this picture. And eventually I just gave up trying because I'm pretty sure I did everything according to the manual. But other than that, we get a very nice looking transformed Kyrios. From the top, this thing looks amazing, but then when you look at it from the bottom, it's a bit weird looking, as is the case with many transformed Gundams. So with our Kyrios back in mobile suit mode, let's have a look at the articulation of this thing. The head is on a double ball joint, will move nicely forwards and backwards, goes up nicely, down nicely, and will also rotate around. This fin at the end will also go up and down, as you were able to see in the transformation. Then moving on to the shoulders, and we have some pretty cool articulation in theory. We have a double ball joint, although this ball joint here is going to do little more than a tiny bit forwards and backwards, and then you have a lot of movement on the actual shoulder ball joint. Now, one really cool thing is that the upwards movement can be pretty significant. It goes up all the way like that on the arm, and then once you have that extra hinge joint enabled, it basically can do a final shooting. It'll of course also rotate around on that ball joint. This flap here will go in and out nicely. The arm rotates around below the shoulder. Then it bends at the elbow on only a single joint, but for that single joint, also because the arm is a little bit curved, it does look quite nice. Then the hands are on ball joints. It will wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. The waist then is on a simple peg joint and will rotate around about that far unless you extend it, at which point you can rotate around all the way. Then on the back, these two things will go up and down individually rather nicely, and they do also click together with a peg, although to be honest, I prefer having this one down and this one up, because I just feel that that makes for a more badass pose. Then moving on to the hips, and in theory, we've got some really cool articulation going on here. First up, the front skirts are on ball joint. They are molded together, but they can be separated. The legs will go forwards quite nicely like so. They'll go backwards not quite as far, but still pretty neat. But then outwards movement goes about that far until it dislodges the leg entirely. And that is the one thing that I'm worried about. These legs already disconnect really easily straight out of the box, and since it's just regular plastic rubbing against other regular plastic, I fear for the longevity of this. Now, as you could see, this is on a ball joint, and there is another ball joint on the inside as well. So there is some cool forwards and backwards and upwards and downwards movement, but that ball joint is potentially going to suffer from the same issue, wearing out in the long run. And while we're here, we'll also pop this open to reveal a little hole for an action-based connector. Then the knees bend really well on two joints. This flap goes up and down. And then we have a very interesting foot and ankle joint. It rotates around right there. Then the ankle guard will also go up and down. Then this thing will go up and down individually as well. And then the foot itself is on a ball joint that doesn't really do a whole lot. And then of course we also have a toe joint which goes very far downwards for the transformation and also goes upwards a little bit. So in terms of articulation, the Kyrios Gundam is definitely no pushover. For 2007, this was some impressive stuff, especially if you also got an action base with it. Even though I am worried about some of the joints wearing out over time, there is no denying that you can make some really dynamic poses with this thing. And then one final thing that I want to mention is that it seems like there is an unused feature on the back of the legs. You can remove these panels and you will reveal a polycab that, as far as I know, nothing clicks into. But I feel like this was probably some kind of precautionary measure just in case they wanted to release stuff like that large missile container down the line. So as always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And while this was a pretty good kit for the time, it hasn't aged particularly well due to its lack of color and the annoyance of no beam saber blades. For fans of the Kyrios who are willing to do some painting and are okay with having a 144th scale, this will definitely be a kit that they'll enjoy. With the articulation and the proportions present, this kit has the potential to be great. However, for anyone else, you might want to look elsewhere, be it the 1/100 scale, the new master grade, or just a completely different unit altogether. For 1,500 yen, you can get some pretty cool kits. For some size comparisons then, first of all, here it is next to my other 00 models, the Exia and the Overflag, and because both of them have much less demanding color schemes, they do look significantly better as just straight builds. Next up, we have some other colorful transformable mobile suits, the Zeta plus Amuro Custom and the Wing Zero, and then finally, here it is next to the standard size Gym Custom and the always bulky Zaku 3. And that is all for this review, brought to you by Hubbling Japan. Again, links down below. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.